most kids. My problem came when I was in grade 12, and they still wanted to know what my favorite subjects were, and they were still gym and recess. So when I had to pick a university major, the closest thing to gym and recess was kinesiology, the study of human movement, how the body moves. I was obsessed with personal training. It was all I wanted to do at the time. So I figured majoring in it was going to be the best choice for me. So I did my Bachelor of Arts with honors in kinesiology at York University. And then I went on to do another 4 months at a college in Orlando, Florida called the National Personal Training Institute, where I got kind of a college diploma in personal training. And that was when I knew that this was going to be the career for me. You can see, even to my college graduation, I wore a Team Jillian shirt, because in my head, I wanted to be Jillian Michaels. That was the career that I wanted. It was all I ever wanted to do was help people from the outside in, make sure that they were okay with their bodies so that they could eventually transform their lives, again, from the outside in. It also, kinesiology, as I said, allowed me to combine gym, recess, fitness, and my love of people and being social and engaging with them. And that is where we come to the first, I'm not going to call it a roadblock or a speed bump, but it's definitely the first rocky point in my journey. My dad was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease about 9 months before I was born, and he went into respiratory failure when I was 3. I never knew him any other way, but he was and still is the reason I am who I am today. He personified resilience. He was a soldier every single day of the 19 years that we had him. He made a choice to keep living, even though he was hooked up to a ventilator, even though he couldn't move or breathe on his own, even though he and I couldn't embrace, he couldn't give me a hug. He still chose every day to live his life. He still chose not to be unplugged every single day for 19 years. When I was in second year, he passed away in a house fire, and it completely altered the course of my life because I no longer had my superhero to look up to, because all little girls look up to their dad. That's their superhero. But when I was 19, I lost mine, and I had to make a choice. And my choice was also not to pull the plug. It was to keep going every single day, even though I had lost the most important thing to me. So getting into personal training, getting into fitness, renewing my love of health and wellness and what it meant, how important it was to my dad to keep both his mind and his body sharp. I remember the nurses doing range of motion exercises with him every single day, even though he wasn't going to move. Really strengthened my love and my resolve for the fitness and wellness industry. But it's also because of my dad that I have tenacity, a joie de vivre. I love life. Every single day that I wake up, I am genuinely happy to be here. And that is something that has been a theme in my career, that no matter what happens, I'm still just so excited to be here and roll with the punches and take whatever life is going to throw at me. Speaking of what life threw at me, from 11 to 21, I struggled hard with an eating disorder and with body image issues. I started my first diet when I was 11 for no reason in particular, just genuinely started a diet. At 11 years old, I thought I was too fat. And at 15, I hit the pinnacle when I was hospitalized for 40 days at Sick Kids, because I was about 5'6", and 100 pounds. It only got worse from there when I was hospitalized again with kidney failure. At that point, I was about 96 pounds. And as much as depressing as these images are, honest to God, I can tell you with a full heart that if it wasn't for struggling so much, I wouldn't be as high as I am now. If I wasn't pulled as low, if I hadn't hit my rock bottom, I wouldn't have as much of a love and an appreciation for health and fitness as I do now, and for a healthy and fit body. Whereas a 0 or a 00 used to be an attractive look and what I wanted for myself, and what I was one of those people that would look through the magazines. I was the cliche. I thought all girls were supposed to be a 00. But it turns out they're not. They're just supposed to be healthy, and whatever health looks like on them. So honest to God, I can tell you I don't regret any of those 10 years I spent struggling with anorexia and my eating disorder. And if any of you struggle with body image issues, you know that it takes so much to get yourself out of that vortex, because that's what it is. You get yourself stuck in this little Bermuda Triangle black hole of self-loathing that's purely based on what you look like, nothing else. And you can't quite pick yourself up despite probably a myriad of other things you have going for you and all of the positive qualities you are. You define yourself based on your body. So if it wasn't for all of the therapy I had and all of the work I did, I wouldn't have the appreciation for what my body looks like and, more importantly, what it can do. So honest to God, my eating disorder, again, had a huge part of why I am in the fitness industry and why fitness and wellness is so important to me. Do you guys watch TED Talks? Are you a fan? Okay, so two that have absolutely changed my life are Simon Sinek's "People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it." Have you guys heard that one? It's one of the most famous watched ones. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And then the second is Amy Cuddy's "Don't fake it till you make it, fake it till you become it." And I'm going to address both of those different TED Talks and how they relate to different points in my life and why they're so important. So the first one, don't fake it till you make it, fake it till you become it. My job currently is to be the managing editor of Muscle Insider magazine. I'm the youngest female editor of a health and wellness magazine. I'm only 28, and I was given the position when I was 27. My boss, the publisher, trusted me with his baby. He said, "I think you're ready." I started as online editor, and now I'm managing editor. And there is no reason whatsoever, I will tell you this now with no shame, there is no reason whatsoever why I should be the editor of a magazine. As I said, I have a background in kinesiology. I like gym and recess. I work out for fun. Like, look, so this was me at the Olympia in 2014, and that was posted on my Facebook from the Olympia. Like, I'm a total goof. There's, again, no reason why I should be running a magazine, but when my boss said to me, "We want to give it to you," I wasn't about to say, no, you should probably give it to somebody more qualified. I said, okay. I mean, I don't see why I can't do it. So I faked it, and I faked it really hard. I think that's the drumming workout. I faked it hard for at least the first 6 months, praying that my boss wouldn't catch me being a kinesiology major, meathead, who only wanted to lift things all day and read things about other people lifting things all day. But I faked it, and I faked it, and I faked it, and I faked it, and I went to the Arnold, and I covered it, and I went to the Olympia, and I covered it, and I went to all of these different health and wellness expos representing the magazine, and eventually I started owning my title as online editor first, and then managing editor second. This was me at the Arnold this past March. It was my first time going to a professional show in the capacity as managing editor, and said with all the humility in the world, I'm pretty sure I nailed it. I'm pretty sure I made the magazine proud. But I want you guys to know that when an opportunity is presented to you that you don't think you can handle, see it as the beginning of your next adventure rather than the end of whatever road you're currently on. There's no reason you can't do something. Again, there's no reason I should be managing editor of a magazine, and yet here I am. Some things just work out. So this is how I started. Back in 2013, I was actually nominated as one of Canada's top 10 trainers. I was that into training. I was working 60 hours a week out of 2 different clubs. I worked at a Good Life in downtown Toronto. I worked at a couple different boutique personal training studios. I had my own online business because online training was just starting to take off. And I was so happy. I could not have been more happy changing people's lives, working with them one-on-one. But after 6 years in the industry, I started to crave more. It wasn't just about working one-on-one anymore. I wanted to do Group X, because Group X is what, at least 20 to 30 people at a time? That was huge for me. Instead of impacting one life every hour, I could impact at least 20 to 30. So I got my spin instructor certification, and I loved it, and it was fulfilling, and it was fun, and I did it all throughout university. But then I started to get bored again, because 30 people per hour was no longer enough for me. So I approached the publisher of Muscle Insider and I said, I will work with you for free. Because at the time they had a distribution of maybe 25 to 35,000 people. They were online on Twitter and Facebook, and I was thinking, okay, I'm working with 20 to 30 people in a spin class, but I can be working with 25 to 35,000 people. So I said, hire me on a trial basis. I've worked for a couple different companies before. If you don't like what you see, if you don't like what I produce, you can fire me because I'm a volunteer. So eventually, running the Muscle Insider Twitter account turned to me writing articles. On a part-time basis, I was being paid to work 20 hours a week for the magazine and 20 hours a week as a personal trainer. And then eventually, writing articles on Twitter turned into being the online editor. I officially ran muscleinsider.com, their Twitter, their Facebook, their Instagram. Now we're on Snapchat. But it all started with me not being satisfied, me wanting to reach more people, me wanting to have more of an impact. So now in 2016, I'm on the editorial team as managing editor. I'm on the sales team helping people sell banners for the website. There's nothing I don't do. Obviously, I work with a team of 6 other exceptionally capable, intelligent, brilliant, like-minded individuals. But this all started because I wanted more. So this is the Muscle Insider Twitter, Facebook banners, my own little, just like a brief glimpse into what I do in terms of social media. And this is me, super proud of our magazine 2 issues ago. So the way I originally started in the industry was that once upon a time I went to Bodybuildingcom and I joined their forums. Back in the day, forums used to be super cool. And you would just chat with people online. They're not as cool anymore because you can talk to people in real life. But I noticed that on the forums, there were so many guys, just dudes asking pro questions, and it was just what I called at the time a test fest, because there was no estrogen. It was just all boys, especially when it came to contest coverage. There was a guy named Lane Norton, and if you guys are familiar with If It Fits Your Macros or PHAT, you're gonna know the name Lane Norton. But Lane was covering all of the IFBB pro contests for Bodybuilding.com. And the second men's bodybuilding would get off the stage, he'd shut his laptop, he would write a review of the show, and he would leave. But you would still have figure, you would still have fitness, you would still have women's bodybuilding, and then later women's physique and bikini. But nobody paid attention to the girls, nobody. So I had, at the time, the biggest set of balls you can ever imagine. And I went up to the editor-in-chief of Bodybuilding.com and I sent him an email and I said, listen, with all due respect, you and Lane are doing a great job, but it's not enough. Because you're missing 3 more categories of competitors who would probably also like to get a little bit of airtime. And he said, well, what do you propose? And I said, give me Lane's laptop after he finishes it, and he doesn't have to have anything to do with the women, you let me write about them. And he's like, all right, I mean, we'll pay for you to fly to Ohio once, and if you're good, we'll keep you around. And I said, you're not going to regret it. And this is back when I was 18. Like, I had like big balls at 18. So, when was this? Sorry, 2008. 2008, I was 19 years old. It was my first Arnold Classic, and Bodybuilding.com was sending me for free. They were paying for me to be there. And what did I do? I nailed it. Nailed it. I worked for Bodybuilding.com for 5 years, doing their contest coverage. I was also writing a ton of articles for them. I was interviewing celebrities about their workouts and their regimens. On behalf of Bodybuilding.com, I can't even tell you how many people I was put in touch with. And it was all because it didn't occur to me that I couldn't. It didn't occur to me, if I see a gap or I see a niche in this market, I'm gonna wanna fill it. Which brings me to my next story. There is a company called Scivation, and back in the day, they were also a test fest. There was a guy named Derek Sharwap, there was a guy named Mark Lobliner, and there was Lane Norton. That's 3 dudes. And it never occurred to me that a girl couldn't be on a team with them. So what did I do? I approached the president of the company, Mark Lobliner, and I said, listen, while I appreciate what you guys are doing, I don't think you guys appreciate that women take supplements too. And not only do women take supplements, women take Scivation supplements. How do you think I found out about you guys? So he said, well, what do you propose? And I said, you need a female athlete on your team. You need one girl to represent all of the other girls who are taking your supplements but are scared that they're gonna look like you guys if they train like you guys. You need a token female on your team. I don't know why I have to be the one telling you this. So what happened? Scivation signed me as their first female athlete. They took me to the Arnold. So now I was working for Bodybuildingcom and a booth babe for Scivation. And I was sponsored by them for 4 years until we both grown apart, and totally like amicable split. It was all good. But again, if I want something, I go after it. But I don't just like write a timid email saying, hey guys, this is what I do, and here's my headshot, and maybe you'd be interested in it. I say, this is what you're missing, and it looks like me. And I will show you how good of an addition I can be to your team. So from Scivation, I got sponsorships from a supplement company called De Novo Nutrition. I'm currently a 6-pack bag sponsored athlete. The bottom left is Perfect Shaker. So if you ever see those shaker cups with superheroes on them, I am one of their athletes. And then lastly, Freak Fitness out of Winnipeg, Manitoba sponsors me for all of my training and nutrition. So I get free programming from them. And it's all about knowing your value and knowing your worth and making sure that you can give these companies something they don't already have. Making sure you're not just a nameless, faceless, another fitness model. I've also recently become a Popeye supplement sponsored athlete, which is exceptionally cool for me because they're one of the biggest supplement retailers ever. And this goes back to the whole Simon Sinek talk about people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. What I do is probably not different than what a lot of other people who are running booths do. I smile, I'm friendly, I look like I'm in shape, don't be fooled, I just CrossFit. But it's not about what I do, it's about how I do it. And I do it with passion, and I do it with a full heart, and I do it with literally everything I have, to the point where I will exhaust myself after only 2.5 days of work, because each of those days had a solid 12 hours in it. So again, all of these opportunities came to me as a result of not what I did, but why I did it. And it's because I love fitness, and I love health, and I love wellness, and I gave you all of the reasons why I love those things, and all of the people who made me fall in love with those things. So this was a quote I found that I really loved, and it's called, "Your life is a reflection of what you believe is possible for yourself." Literally anything you can manifest in your brain, you can manifest in your life. Your life is a reflection of what you believe is possible for yourself. So I want to show you, I have been interviewed by a number of different websites. I've worked for a number of different websites. I've blogged for them. I've interviewed for them other celebrities. And it's all because, like I said before, it never occurred to me that there was something that I couldn't do. My life has always been a reflection of what I believe is possible. If it's possible for me to be sponsored by a supplement company, then it's gonna happen. If it's possible for me to be the youngest female managing editor of a health magazine, then I'm gonna make it happen. So these are a couple of my friends. Joe Donnelly, Dana Lynn Bailey, Amanda and Steve Kuklo and Sergi Constance. And these are all people I've met as a result of the magazine, and these are all now people I can call my friends. All of these people are now in my phone because they didn't buy, thank you, they didn't buy what I did, they bought why I did it. It wasn't just another interview with DLB, it was me getting to know her because I started off as a fangirl. And then the last point I want to make, because I got the 5-minute warning, is don't dabble, commit, go all in. The idea of doing something half-assed does not occur to me. Whether it's the magazine, or I wanted to put these up because sometimes I am a fitness model also in magazines or websites or wherever people need me. But I want you to think, especially in the fitness industry, where people are buying, why you're doing something, not what you do. When was the last time you gave 100%? Like, when was the last time you actually gave a class, whether you were giving it or taking it, 100%, where you didn't fuck around? You seriously left everything you had on the floor. Or what if it wasn't a class? What if it is your current job? If you're saving a little bit in the tank with your job, then it's not the job for you. Because you're clearly holding out for something else, something more, something better. I want you to find a job, find a career path. I don't know how you get there, but I want it to be I want it to be something that you can give 100% to and be glad to give 100%. If you have 105, I want you to give 105. I want you to go all in for something. If there's one thing you take away from my talk, it's passion, it's commitment, it's 100%. And lastly, this was one of my first six-pack bag article, and it's when you find your why, you find a way to make it happen. I know a lot of people talk about whys, even Jillian Michaels today, this afternoon, she talked about your why. Why do you do something? What's your reason for doing something? So when you find your why, you find a way to make it happen. If you love your job, if you love your career, if you love your path in fitness, that's your why. That's your why. Again, going back to like my first couple of slides, my why is my dad. He is the reason I do everything. So if ever I feel like I don't want to give 100%, that's not how he would do things. So because he is my why, he is my reason to make everything happen. He is the reason I went from being a meathead to a kinesiology major, to a personal trainer, to a spin instructor, to managing editor. And as you can see, that is quite an unconventional journey. But it is one that's led me to one of the most fulfilling occupations, careers, jobs, whatever you want to call it, I think I've ever had. And I wish all of you guys the same happiness with whatever you choose to pursue and whatever your chosen field is. Thank you for listening.
Wow, Melissa Tucker, everybody. What? I'm sorry, Melissa Tucker is our next speaker. What did I say? Jamie Filer. Jamie Filer, you're so inspiring. Wow. So amazing. Find your why. Find your why. This is so exciting. I got goosebumps in some of the slides, I have to say. So next, we have Melissa Tucker coming to set up. So she's going to be talking in about 5 minutes. She's going to be talking about